this is some heavy stuff we're talking about. And I'll preface it with this. So, when I was in retail, we'd sell 500-600 cars a month. We'd sell 70% warranties on those.
Yeah.
So you're talking, let's say, 250 warranties in there. 70, so
375.
So we had a 8% cancellation rate. So there's a decent amount of volume, right? And every manager that I'm talking to is trying to TO deals. They're getting involved. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing as a finance manager, hanging paper, doing all that stuff. They don't have time to call, but we wanted to have them do it all. The accounting department's sitting there going, what are these guys doing? They're making all this money. They're lazy. They don't do their job.
100%.
Right? And there's no way to hold them accountable. But, hey, they make us a lot of money. Let's just look the other way, whatever. So you have found a way where you're putting a form fill on your website that if a customer wants to do it, which everybody is scared to do, because what if we could have won them back? What if we could have resolved it? I don't want you just to put that on there. I want to be able to call them and try to keep you from canceling the warranty, right?
100%.
And so what are you seeing? What's the success rate? What's the difference between the old way and the new way?
I would say the success rate's actually gotten better.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, believe it or not, our warranty cancellations have actually gone down.
Here we go. That's what I'm talking about.
And the other scenario is you reduce the risk of customer issues and complaints because you address their question immediately. One, you put the request on.
So simple.
So the funny thing about it too is most customers, when they want to cancel a warranty, what do? They go to your website and they look for a way to figure it out. If you put it plain and simple in front of them, with a landing page, with a form, they can put what they want, what their specific request is, and then it goes to somebody who's going to escalate it right away, and then hold them accountable, which we've done.
Now you don't have all these phone calls, unanswered calls, status updates. Hey, I want to get a status update on this.
Yeah.
Nobody called me back. The voicemail was full. All of those things because you just put it on the website.
100%. Just put it on the website.
So simple.
So easy. It's for a concept too. Like the issue initially came about because we were having an issue with follow-up and tag title as well. We do a lot of out-of-state business, and the biggest issue we had was customers would call sales reps, and sales reps would never follow up with them initially.
Right, because it's uncomfortable. They're like, I don't they tell them what we're going to tell them.
And we have 2 accounting clerks for 400 deals a month from one store alone, and then
everything gets forwarded to them.
And they don't have the time to follow up, plain and simple, and they don't also know the context. They didn't work with the customer. So the sales team fails at doing their initial follow-up, which is a problem to CSI. And then, in addition to that, we potentially lose a customer in the long run because we created a friction in the process, as opposed to just putting something on the website where they send in, and then we can literally just take action items.
And that helps. You know a little bit about SEO.
Yeah.
So does that help or hurt your SEO?
Hurt your SEO. So I actually took the page from there was another dealer group. Sorry, not another dealer group. CarMax has it on their site. And I saw it a while ago, and I was like, you know what? I wonder how well this works. So that's what we decided to do, because we were having such an issue with contact rate and things. Well, not contact rate, customers' contact rate with getting to certain departments. And we want to just be able to streamline and put point person who could really take it and hold accountable. And
These are the paper cuts that just cause dealers to bleed out.
100%.
I just sold my car to Carvana.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go get a paper title. Florida's a digital title state, right?
Yeah.
But people from outside of Florida hate dealing with Florida for that reason. So I get on Carvana. I don't know I'm dealing with an agentic agent. I'm going back and forth. It gets down to the thing, and it says, okay, how quickly am I going to get my money? Well, you got 3 days on a draft, not a check. Do you know the difference? So, of course, I say no. And it tells me, here's what a draft is, here's what a check is. So when everybody says, well, Carvana's going to get me a check today, that's not necessarily the case. They're going to get him a draft today, which is a 3-day hold.
Correct.
But then it asked me, and I said, well, that sounds like a major pain in my ass. I don't want to go get a paper title. It's a digital title state. What can you do? and it comes back with this because the logic's all built into your quote, and it's in some knowledge base somewhere that people. Oh, and by the way, it linked me back to their website, so it's SEO in hand somehow, and it says, "No problem, Brian. You've got 2 different ways to go. Path A, you can go down to the DMV, you can get your paper title, you get paid in 3 days. Option B, which is what most people do, is we're going to wait until we get funded on the deal, we get our money, and then we'll cut you a check in 2 to 3 weeks for your deal. Right? And once all that's done, because you're out of state or whatever.
Yeah.
So I said, which way would you like to go? And I told my wife, she goes, where are you going? I go, I'm going to the DMV, I'm going to get a paper title.
Yeah.
Because I wanted my money in 3 days. So if you use your process like that and you just you pull the curtain back to where you're taking your back office and you put all your processes on the website, I applaud. That's the first time I've heard this. So it's that's more important.
I mean, it's all about transparency for the customer and creating more of a frictionless, seamless process for them to get the answers that they want. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, we don't have enough staff or do we want to trust?
Everything's like, I don't want you replacing people. Your people aren't making those calls today anyway.
I know.
I mean,
You're freeing them up.
70% of my calls were status updates. Is my car ready? What's going on with it? Where are my plates? Where are my tags? My temp tag's about to expire in 10 days. I'm freaking out. All these different things.
Yeah.
And versus just teaching everybody. So they go to the website, they can't find that information. What do? They call. You're like, why are these people calling so much? Or they're getting so many phone calls, and I don't want to delegate it to AI, and all the things that come with it. And it's just this Ferris wheel of hell.
Oh, yeah. No, it's for sure. It's actually ridiculous, quite frankly. And the worst part about it, and probably the person who probably benefits the most from it, our general sales manager, because his voicemail's less full with the complaints. Because most of the time, the calls never get answered, and then what do they get? They get frustrated, and then they go to him.
Right.
So we've reduced the friction there. So not only do we get less negative customer reviews, but we've improved overall CSM.
And the F&I manager is always going to say, I could have salvaged that deal, right? And when I went back and I just because I did the same thing. Customers want to call and want to get their payoff to find out to pay off their car because they're trading in somewhere else, right? And we would get, 20, 30 calls a day asking for the Toyota payoff. And we wouldn't give it to them. No, we'll give it to an F&I manager. They can give the number because maybe we can keep them from paying off the car. Yeah. So, and they're never going to get called back.
Decision.
And it only happens 3% of the time, but we're building our process that would happen. It doesn't happen 97% of the time.
Yeah.
That's going to frustrate every other employee in the dealership. Just so that maybe once in a blue moon we can recapture that in the off chance.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
If you did that in Vegas, you'd be out of business.
Exactly. The charge-offs don't outweigh the negative. I address every single one with a different workflow and a different approach from my stores based on those four individual buckets. To be able to layer in how that customer made it to me and address that from the standpoint of, okay, that person made it off of a Google search or made it off of a third-party referral, it layers in my not only my ability to follow up with the customer in an appropriate way, but give my actionable insights to where my marketing dollars are spent. And then we can layer in the ability of understanding, okay, well, I'm getting most of these here and receiving these. What's wrong with my approach? Because if a customer's making it, if I'm getting a bunch of people who are coming from cars, from an example, and they're all submitting, contact us forms or, is this vehicle available for us? But then we're not, at the end of the day, closing.
Which is crushing your answer engine optimization too if you're not giving the answer.
Yeah, why the hell are we why are we not closing them, or as opposed to our trade or partners or what?
And all right, so this moment is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So now you're talking about making an action, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So how in that moment, that data, because everybody has that data, they can look at that scoreboard, they could say, oh, okay, well, and what you're talking about, how does a dealer principal that doesn't get into the weeds, what can they do to talk to their marketing manager, their CMO, internet manager, GM, to make that stuff actionable, or ask them questions to figure out why that's being mixed?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it just comes down to education You could take somebody who doesn't have a in-depth knowledge of what's going on in day-to-day operations of marketing and be able to have it more rolled up. The biggest issue, and we talked about this before, people tend to blindly spend money on things they don't understand. And being able to create something that's actionable for them to understand really, okay, this is where I'm actually seeing results. Then I can have appropriate conversations to understand and inspect on what's going on. Because at the end of the day, I think most marketing individuals in most stores or consultants or whatever are full of absolute shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's terrible what people can lead dealers to do because they've built a relationship or trust or something like that. In this instance, they can actually hold them accountable to understand and have conversations and say, hey, listen, this is where we're seeing results, this is where we're not seeing results. You told me I should do this. Why are we doing it? Because I'm not seeing anything out of it.
That's what I'm talking about. That's how you make an actionable.
Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. I mean, that's literally what, and we've had this conversation before, this is literally the epitome of what this, we're one of the few only industries, I mean, outside of this, maybe some services and stuff like that, where we're
HVAC.
HVAC and stuff like that. I mean, it's funny because AHR is literally like over right next to NADA right now, and they're probably getting the same stuff. I mean, there's hundreds of vendors that are out at NADA right now. They're trying to do the same thing to every single dealer, which is quite frankly pull the wool over their eyes and say, hey, listen,
Stamp with AI.
Yeah.
AI embedded.
Yeah, let me manipulate all this down and make it look like there's solid results. Nothing.
Right, and there's no way you can fact check me.
100%. But now you can fact check and tell them, hey, listen, if I can drill it down to the individual source, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if that customer had multiple touch points. This is what happened for them to drive the result into the CRM. And this is how they made it to me and ended up at the end of the day purchasing. And then from there, anytime that I have a lead from different sources, how can I make my follow-up approach better to then win more of those leads?
Okay, so I'll switch gears. And I don't know where your stance is on this. What's your feeling about SEO versus AEO, GEO?
Geo is the biggest freaking buzzword on the planet.
Right.
And don't even get me started by AEO. Oh my God.
So the dealer's like, well, what's the difference?
There is no freaking difference. There's no difference at all. Because you know what? You know what Geo looks to, or you know what Gemini or whatever is going to be looking for to produce its results is solid search engine optimization. It's the same. It is exactly the same. And what's even worse is, you're seeing.
So what drives AI overviews? Because you used to have 5 or 6 different blue links to click on.
Correct.
How do Google choose the one that gets the answer?
Based on their proprietary algorithm, on whatever your keywords are, it's going to produce the best result with the most quality data, and the one that customers have built trust in looks like that.
What does that mean? I know what you mean, but I want everybody else to know.
They're looking for relevance. What's the most relevant result, and what's the one that more customers have built authority in with their results before? Like they've seen actual data from.
And I agree.
Yes.
I'm drilling this with this video.
Yeah.
Dumb it down to like an 11th grade reading level. So you got expertise, experience, authoritativeness, trustworthiness. So authority, citations, what's that mean for an average dealer? Like, what should they look for?
The most relevant content on the site. Keyword optimization. Are you continuing to produce content that's going to resonate with your audience that you're trying to go after? That's exactly what AI is looking for as well, because they want to produce the most solid result for anybody who's doing a general search or whatever. Because they know if they can continue to produce better, show better results for them, then people are going to continue to use it and not look elsewhere. So why wouldn't they go off of the stuff that's already built the most
user-generated content?
Right. Yeah. But yeah, the most.
How are you seeing Reddit, Dealer Better Business Bureau change as this happens?
So, most of them are built building towards. I mean, Reddit's still like the most.
Big time.
I would say still probably the most like looked after result engine, for AI at this point. But most of them are pivoting towards creating content and getting away from like the best way to explain this, like the spamming content, like
We're just copying and pasting OEM stuff and just plastering 2000. You still have your 2014 SEO pages that are still backlinked. Like you're just creating more and more noise and content.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it penalizes those dealers.
100%. Yeah, they're going away from the regurgitate.
It wants real, genuine, authentic, like pure, unadulterated, content that's organic. That's talking about your salespeople, talking about you, the DNA of your dealership.
Oh, 100%. And like I'll give you an example. Like Google came out with a recent result where they've just been penalizing dealers who like started creating lists, like ranking lists of like the top SEO providers or whatever, and then putting themselves at the top, and then putting like competitors or whatever. Like they just came out with this where they penalized a bunch of companies that started doing that, creating spammy level content because they found it's not relevant. And it's pitchy. If it's all geared towards you, I mean, if it looks like a spade, now it's like a spade. It's probably a spade. So they're looking for that type of content to get rid of because it's not relevant to their audience. So at the end of the day, I think we're going to more authentic content, less replicated content.
Or deeper.
Yeah, and diving deeper into what is capable. You're going to see a lot of companies that, they'll take topics and they'll use AI to write the content, but it's going to be at the focus of the store. It's going to be at the focus of the location. It's going to be at the focus of the dealership itself, adding in value propositions and all of that stuff. AI will help it write it, but will make the speed of it.
Create the thought.
Create the thought. 100%. The thought still has to be there. It's not back in the day whenever OEM sites just started going out. I mean, I'll give the example. I mean, dealers, I don't know, throw dealers fire under the bus, but you built when they got the GM contract. Every single page was built the exact same for every single dealer who came on.
Yeah, that's not good today.
No,
It was good then, but it's not good now.
You know what's funny is like 90% of the dealers that are still on still have that same regurgitated crap on their sites because they don't have anybody who goes in and inspects that stuff. And up until the last 18 months, it's been fine for them. Because it was the only thing it was catered to their location, it was catered to their store, but it's still the same regurgitated content. You could basically plug in differentiation. You could plug it into Google and search, and 40 different dealers are going to show up in the surrounding market with almost the same exact content. We're going to go to more intent level, theme created content that will be geared around the voice of the store and different value propositions of what that store has. Exactly. Total personalization.
This has been a master class. Tell everybody who you are, what you do, and how you do it.
I'm Andrew Regan, e-commerce director for Southtown Auto Group. We've got 3 stores in South Atlanta. #1 GM store in the state. #1 Hyundai store in the state. I'm just lucky in my position. I've been fortunate enough to work in this business for now my 10th year. And I just keep thriving and growing and asking questions and digging deeper into everything.